Hi, I'm Max Saltonstall, and today I'm going to talk through some simple things you can do to secure your workloads and sensitive data in the cloud while still keeping it private. We're going to talk about how shielded VMs and confidential VMs can help you do this. Let's start with creating a shielded VM in the Google Cloud Console. Shielded VMs are virtual machine instances that are hardened with a set of easily configurable security features to ensure that when your VM boots, it's running a verified bootloader and kernel. Using shielded VMs helps protect workloads from threats like remote attacks, privilege escalation, and malicious insiders. And yes, everything we do here could also be done through gcloud and the command line. Starting at Compute Engine, go to VM Instances and then Create. Give it a name, then go down to Boot Disk and click Change. Choose any image, they're all shielded by default. Close that window with Select at the bottom, and then go down to the tabs labeled Management, Security, Disks, etc., and click Security. You can see the default shielded VM settings. Let's enable Secure Boot here for extra protection, and then click Create to spin it up. Turning on Secure Boot gives us added protection from boot and kernel level malware. Once it's ready, click on the new VM and click on Stack Driver Logging under Logs on the Detail page. At the Logs page, you can filter for just VM integrity logs by clicking on the All Logs dropdown and choosing shielded_VM_integrity. Now you can see just the shielded VM events for this instance. Let's dig in further. Click into the log for Early Boot Report event. Then expand the JSON payload, then the Early Boot Report event inside that. You can confirm the VM's integrity state from the early boot perspective from the line showing Policy Evaluation Passed is true. Early boot encompasses firmware and other drivers loaded during the boot process of the VM. Back to the logs list, open up the log that starts with boot counter, then expand JSON payload, then late boot report event shows you details about the integrity of the rest of your kernel drivers. Once again, you can confirm the boot integrity of the VM from the line Policy Evaluation Passed being true. That shows that the VM passed all late boot checks and is running what we expect it to be running, no shenanigans. Now head into Cloud Shell to disable Secure Boot so we can test this integrity check. Uh-oh. First, stop the VM with gcloud. Next, disable Secure Boot using gcloud update. Now restart the VM, and you can see in the console that the integrity verification has failed by examining the same logs as before. Finally, make a new integrity baseline with gcloud so you can compare future measurements against the current state. Pretend that you already triaged this failure and consider it acceptable. With this new baseline established, go check the integrity state of the shielded VM again in Stack Driver Logging. Make sure you click Load Newer Logs to get the latest results. Looking at the late boot report event again, we can see that the Policy Evaluation Passed is true once again, showing that we have met our integrity standards. The ones we just lowered, of course. Finally, time to look at these metrics over time via monitoring. Open up Monitoring and head to Metrics Explorer. Under Find Resource Type and Metric, choose the resource GCE VM instance and the metric Early Boot Validation. Then add a second metric, Late Boot Validation. We've got our graph, though it's going to make more sense as a stacked bar graph. Looks great. Now you can keep track of your integrity over time with gorgeous colors. When our customers are ready to move their workloads to the cloud, one of the biggest challenges is securely processing sensitive data in the cloud while keeping it private. Google Cloud offers solutions to securely bring sensitive data to the cloud using encryption to protect data in transit for offline or online ingestion. But when we have to actually use the data, it's much tougher to keep it encrypted. With confidential computing, now in beta, Google Cloud lets you take data security a step further by encrypting data while it's being processed in a Google data center. Confidential computing environments can now enable encrypted data to be processed in memory without exposing it to the rest of the system. And this can be done without the need to make any changes in your workload or code. Let's take a look at the product by making a new confidential computing VM, which contains a shielded VM to perform the computation. Inside Compute Engine, create a new VM instance. Enable confidential computing service with a checkbox. Note what changes are being made to your VMs with this setting, then click Enable. You can run any workload you want. Your VM is now much safer and more secure, with all the memory encrypted, so your data is safe in use. But what about instance templates and groups, you might ask? Well, we've got you covered. The same confidential computing option is available for instance templates, and you can either use one of our pre-made images or your own custom image that best fits your workload. Now my template defines a shielded confidential VM setup, and I can go to instance groups to make a managed instance group with that template. Beep bop boop, we're done! With a set of instances auto-scaling for my needs, secure and ready to work. Confidential computing environments can now enable encrypted data to be processed in memory without exposing it to the rest of the system. And this can be done without the need to make any changes in your applications. Thanks for joining me today. Enjoy shielded VMs and confidential computing for your workloads on cloud, and check out the link below to get started.